Hey guys, so today is gonna be a fun day. So it's been a minute since I've done a Make Up Your Mind. And if you are new to Make Up Your Mind, basically what I'll do is I get a brand new releasing eyeshadow palette and I try to mimic it. So I'm not trying to find dupes, I'm just trying to see what the palette is going to look like by finding similar colors to build the color story, to kind of get an idea if it's even like a color story that I want to add to my collection. I'll look at the colors that I'm using to see if they're colors that I typically use out of certain palettes, and kind of gives me an idea on whether this is a palette that I should add to my collection, or hey, maybe I'm picking all these colors that I never use in other palettes and I start to realize I don't want to add this to my collection. And today is actually a fun one because we're going to be doing the Make Up Your Mind on the brand new Natasha Denona YUCCA palette, which I already ordered. So I mean, like, it kind of defeats the purpose of this practice, but I mean, I already ordered this palette, but you guys wanted me to do this video anyways, and I love doing this, so we're gonna just go ahead and do it. So I always start off these videos with showing you guys my results. Let me show you guys the results first. So this is the palette. This is the colors that I was able to find. I'm gonna go ahead and show you guys all of the palettes that I used to kind of mimic this, and yeah. If you're not aware, the YUCCA palette is available now. It's on Natasha Denona's website. It's like, I think it was $69 US, and Sephora is probably gonna have it any minute now. I will have it linked down below. But to kind of mimic this palette, what I used was the Huda Beauty Khaki Obsessions, which looks just like this. I also jumped into this NARS palette, which is like, I love this palette. So this is the Climax from NARS, and I love her. Ouch. I also used the Dose of Colors. I believe this was called Cutting Edge. Yeah, the Cutting Edge palette. It's broken, so we shall not flip it too much, or I'll have like a huge disaster on my desk. Natasha Denona's famous gold palette. I grabbed a few colors from. I actually jumped into my Makeup Geek collection of singles also to kind of mimic the color story, which is funny. A few of these singles that I picked, I feel like the colors matched pretty well. And then finally, Club Nebula from Kaleidos gave me 2 different colors. So that's basically all the palettes that I meshed together to kind of see what this was going to look like. A lot of you guys are probably wondering why I didn't use Metropolis, because, right, doesn't it look like it's like a Metropolis dupe? Well, I feel like when I tried to grab colors from Metropolis, they were off. So we'll talk about that at the end of the video. But yeah, let's go ahead and let's start building this color story together. I'll show you guys how I came up with this. So for the very first color, this palette, the Club Nebula, has this like greenish blue color called Queen of Blades. Now I will tell you guys, ooh, it is a very dirty color. It basically stained my skin, but I don't even think it's like perfect. I feel like the one from Miss Natasha is actually going to be a little bit less blue. It's gonna have more green in it. It may be a little bit more similar actually to the one inside of the Metropolis, which is this one right here. So you can grab a little bit of it and kind of like dab it on top to make it a little bit more green. But to be honest, I think it's gonna be a little bit more green than this. I hope it's a little bit more green than that, because I feel like this color, to be honest, is one of those colors that I hardly ever use. Also, it's like a staining color, and I hate staining colors. Like my fingers are all bluish green. I had a blue-green streak on my arm, which I'm probably gonna have all day, which is fantastic. But yeah, so that's how I got that one. I went back into Club Nebula and I grabbed the color Gravity, which is this like neon green. This is a very famous, popular color for summer. So if you have not seen my trend finder, greenish, limeish colors are very in, a very strong color trend right now. So I'm not shocked that it's in this brand new release. I like the color typically on the lids. Do I put lime green? No. But sometimes I do use them to kind of blend, and they do really cool like accents, so you can kind of use it on its own as an eyeliner. You can put it in the inner corner and it does a really cool pop. So I do like this, but more like for a fun shade than to blend into other colors. So then Dose of Colors, this palette right here, I almost feel like I used every shade in here, but I used this 5th color right here, which is this beautiful huntery green. And I love this color. It's a beautiful grungy hunter green. I use this color so much. inside of this Dose of Colors palette that, oh my gosh, to have Natasha Denona's formula in this is just like really exciting to me because I love these grungy greenish tones for the lids, and yeah, that's gonna be exciting. So then I got this color right here from the gold palette. It has like a little bit like a gold, it has like a greeny shift, which I feel like this gold is going to have it, like a greeny shift, but I also jumped into this color here on the top that has more of a greeny shift and put it right on top just to really make this shade kind of shift a lot. One thing I noticed about this midi sized palette that's releasing, the metallics seem to really be reflective. I'm very excited for that. I'm hoping that it's just not her imagery on Instagram, but even like the colors that I found today, I don't think have that reflect that I'm seeing in these Instagram like pictures. So for the next one, I jumped back into this palette and I grabbed this first shade right here. It's like a really pretty grungy-ish green. Now this color, I do feel like we could find a similarity to it in Metropolis. So this one is like one of those grungier greens, but I do feel like every time I jumped into the Metropolis to find this kind of greenish tone to match it, they went a little bit bright, I guess, and this one seemed a little bit more dulled of a palette, which I'm excited for. So the next one so this was this really cool metallic. I love this green, and I feel like I looked at a lot of palettes, swatched so many different shades of green for this metallic and could not find the perfect shade. So I ended up just trying to make one, which I don't even think I made it that great. I just kind of grabbed into this color from Makeup Geek, which is this really pretty like green here, and this Makeup Geek color is called Illuminati. So this Illuminati color has like a shift that looks similar to what you see inside of this palette, but it was too light. Like that's too light of a green. So I grabbed this Dose of Colors green and kind of like put it on top to darken up the color. And yeah, I mean, I don't think it's perfect at all by any means, but it's definitely close. So this orangey color, I actually grabbed it here in the Makeup Geek stack that I have here as well. This one is called Cheetah Bear, and I feel like Cheetah Bear has a very similar tone when it's swatched. It's like an orange, but it's also like a brown. So actually, I think that this color might be almost like spot on to it. So Cheetah Bear to me is like one of the closest dupes that I could find, and I love that color. That's a really cool color. Love the way that oranges look with green. So that one is super exciting. So then for this brown, another interesting color, because you would think like brown's so typical, right? But I had a hard time finding this. I jumped into the gold palette and I jumped into this brown here, which is kind of like a cool toned brown. It had a very similar like undertone and actually looks so much lighter in the pan, but when you swatch it, it comes off so much darker. But I needed it to be a little bit more rich, so I jumped into the Huda Beauty Khaki Obsessions and just add a little bit of this dark brown on top just to kind of amplify the darkness and make it just a little bit more similar to what I'm seeing in the swatch. And I got it there, but I have to say that's another shade that as I was looking through different palettes, I was having a harder time finding exactly. So the next one I actually got from NARS. So this is where Climax came in. This bluish color here. I'm interested to see how blue, how gray this shifter is, because I feel like this is gonna be like one of those shifty cool shades that's gonna be like a grayish blue. I grabbed this one because it's like the closest that I can find to this swatch. Such a cool shade. I love this shade actually in the NARS palette, and I didn't realize how amazing this shade goes with greens until I got this NARS palette. So that is a really cool shade. So the next one I jumped into Makeup Geek again. I got my little single, and this is in the color Koi. I think Koi is also like a really, really similar tone to the color she put in her palette. So Koi is, I think, almost spot on, but you know, it's a really cool like yellowy orange, and I think it looks so similar. All right, so the next one is a dark rich brown. I'm actually really excited that I was having a hard time finding a very dark rich brown in my like makeup collection, because I thought that that was like every palette would have it. I feel like the Dream palette had a similar color, so if you jumped into this color Aspiration, it was a similar like deep rich color, but it had too much like purple in it. Like it wasn't brown enough. So what I did was I jumped into my Huda Beauty palette right here, the Khaki Obsessions, and grabbed this color here. Gave me a really nice rich dark brown, and it's close enough. Like I actually even think that I would have to put a little bit of black on top of this. I'm just gonna grab a little black from my Makeup Geek color put it on top, and just make it a really dark, rich brown, which I kind of love. I think that's such a cool color, and it's great for even like an eyeliner, you know? Okay, so for the next one, this is shocking to me. I actually thought that I had like millions of palettes that had champagne in it, and actually maybe even in this dream palette we can grab a champagne, but even here I couldn't find one. Like, it's just, I'm shocked I didn't have that much champagne, but I jumped into this single, which I don't even think that this is too spot on. It's the color called Something, and it has a champagne-y look to it, but like I said, like this color, I almost feel like it's such a typical gold, but I hardly have it, you know? Maybe in a Pat McGrath palette I could have actually found this, so maybe it would have been better to go to Pat McGrath for that one. So for the next one, I jumped into Dose of Colors, and I jumped right back into this shade. You guys know I already used this one, but I mixed a little bit of green into it. So I put it first on top, and then I grabbed this green here at the end and mixed them together to make it a little bit of like a grungier lime. So it wasn't as predominantly lime, and I feel like that is kind of similar, like it got very close. Then I grabbed into this last color, this beautiful dark rich green from the Dose of Colors palette, and like I did prior, I have to like deepen it up a little bit. So I grabbed this shade right here from Makeup Geek. It's called Enchanted Forest, and I grabbed a little bit of it and kind of just dabbed it on top just to make it a little bit more rich and deep. And that's how I came up with a little bit more of like that grungier, but still greenish green. So for the last one, what I did was I jumped into Huda Beauty and jumped into this color right here. And it's kind of like a orangey metallic-y color, right? Look how cool that is. And that looks really similar. So it's gonna have a really, I mean, it's going to be a lot more reflective and beautiful because Natasha Denona, I feel like she just like really kills it when she wants to with metallics. But this is what I think the color story is going to look like based off of the swatches, kind of comparing it to palettes that I already have and coming up with the color story. This is what I got. Looking at it, to be honest, like I think that this could be such a beautiful fall palette. Like this isn't summer to me. This is fall, winter, more fall, and I love fall palettes. I love like those like really like autumn looking eyes. Today I kind of did a look that you could probably recreate if you bought this palette because I use colors from today's video on the eyes, and I love this look. It's such a pretty look. I love that there's like a rich brown in here. I love that there's like kind of like you can go into like the browns with the oranges and do like a very autumn eye. Then you have like the greens that can kind of switch everything up. There's champagne. Then you got some fun colors down here, which you could really do for outer edge work. You could do inner corner work, and I just think it's like a really pretty palette, and it's different from Miss Natasha because as I was looking through all her palettes, I couldn't find any that were so similar. And like I said, I do believe that the most similar, like just if you look at it, would be Metropolis. But Metropolis, I couldn't pick any colors from because the colors were off. Like it was not the right tone. We will see if that continues when I actually get the palette, and I'm really hoping it looks like this. If it gets even grungier, a little bit lighter, like not so bright and just really grungy, and those metallics pop, oh my gosh, this might be the palette of my dreams, and I'm really excited for it. So I want to know from you guys, what did you guys think? Are you excited for this palette? But of course, I'm gonna make up my mind and say, of course, I'm picking up this palette because I already ordered it, and it should actually be shipping tomorrow. So anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. Don't forget to hit subscribe. I will continue to do some more Make Up Your Minds. I know you guys missed them, and we're gonna start doing them. I've been seeing some new palettes coming out. Let me know if you want me to do the new Anastasia Cosmo one. And yeah, thanks for watching. I will see you guys in the next video. Bye.